Welcome to Change the Narrative. This is Kim.
This is Lamb. What up, work?
What up, Lamb?
Hey, man. Just living the life, 2020.
The year
Depression.
that keeps on giving.
Yes, this is a great depression.
But hey.
What's up?
On the bright side, right?
Okay.
Well, I hope on the bright side. It looks like you were right.
About what this time?
As always. Belize is opening up the airport, and it looks like the Prime Minister is final review of Change the Narrative.
Why you say that? Why you say that?
The entire implementation plan is pretty much what you said the last time we talked about how they can open this economy the right way.
Well, I don't want to say this because of listening to Change the Narrative. I just think it's the obvious thing to do.
Or they took long enough to do it.
You know what I mean?
Not.
You know what I mean? I think it's the obvious thing to do. At the end of the day, man, I mean, kudos to those guys. They did a great job. They did a great job in keeping the people of Belize safe for the most part and keeping in the cases on a limited basis. But my reasoning and my thing I want to point out was the idea that they had to start with, that they could have outlast this disease, was a failed mission from the start. And it's time for them to be thinking more rational. And the thing we talked about in the last episode, episode 27, was just a rational way of getting back the economy, plus still be able to, protect the folks of Belize and have some money flow within their people, because our people are starving. There are people who are homesick that needs to get on the plane and get help outside of the country. There are businesses, small businesses need supplies and need funds to come into the economy to help boost things up. So I just think you got to have a level-head approach, to get out of the situation. And what we spoke about 3 weeks ago and what they are planning to implement now is the obvious thing to do.
Cool. Now, one of the things that I noticed when I was looking over the plan, it just seems like the money is being funneled to the top, like to the big businesses and the little mom and pop store. I don't see them getting a whole lot.
You're right about that. You're totally right about that. The way they have it set up is, the big businesses and the big hotels are the ones that will be the beneficiary of all that. I mean, the good thing about it is the big hotels do hire local Belizeans within those hotels, and those Belizeans can then take those funds, take it back to their communities, and hopefully trickle. Hopefully trickle down. They can help boost things.
At least a portion of it, but the biggest part of it is
the local mom and pops and the local people. But I have a solution for that too, and the solution is pretty simple. There's a lot of Belizean Americans that are doing pretty well. A lot of us have businesses out here and they're doing pretty well, and all of us need a vacation at this point. So it's time for us to go home, man. All of us, listen, man, there's about 100,000 Belizean American that are here that are doing pretty well. Just go home, invest in the local mom and pop stores, man. It's time for us to,
the economy.
Yeah, just boost the economy. Let's boost the local panales shop, the local barbecue shop, the local taco stand. You know what I mean? The bakery on the corner. We have the ability to boost the economy the way it is, but we gotta do it the right way as well. We gotta get tested up here before we even decide to go there. Make sure we don't have anything, and make sure we're protected, man. Wear our gloves or masks and so forth while we are there. We gotta set an example as well. But I think the solution for the small mom and pops and so forth is the Belizean Americans and the Belizeans who are in the diaspora that can make a difference. And I think this is the time for them to do that.
I agree. And sadly, a lot of the local Belizeans who are abroad right now, they will have to wait until August 15th to go home because the repatriation costs, they can't afford it.
Yeah. So,
they can't afford to do that.
I got, you put me onto the whole repatriation process and how they're doing it. Again, they're seeing that they're gearing up to support and prop up these big businesses.
It's kind of
sad. The local mom and pops and the local Belizeans, because these people we're talking about are people who live in Belize that got stuck because of COVID-19 and want to come home, but they can't afford. They need to come home, but they cannot afford to come home because the cost to come home at this time is an additional $2,000 that they don't have. They also don't have a job to come home to because of the situation being stuck outside of the country. They're probably already lost their job as well. My thing again, for it to make sense, is why don't they just have the Belizeans go quarantine themselves at a local cheaper hotel or motel? You know what I mean? Some that, will cost them a fraction of the cost they're trying to,
Right.
put on these people right now. You know what I mean? Because I understand they don't want them to be in the general population amongst their people. I totally get that, and that should be the plan. But we should have cheaper options for these people,
Right.
so they can go and quarantine for the 14 days without have to, go bankrupt in the process. And once that is all said and done, they need to go back to work as well. They needed to, to provide for their family and take care of their loved ones. So I think that's the other part of it they need to try and implement as they get along. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it's great that we're opening. We have a date, but that date is still, 60 days away?
Yeah, it's about 45 days away.
A lot of people who's like, I need to go home.
They need to go home now, man. That's what I'm saying. It's tough, man. I mean, it's a tough deal, but this is an unusual time, man. So I'm just glad that they come to their senses and they understand that they cannot outlive or close their society down. COVID-19 will be with us for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you see what we're doing up here in the States. We are actually shooting for a herd immunity at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what we're trying to do. That's what our president is trying to do. He has no interest right now in trying to protect us up here as Americans.
Right. We're trying to live our life, but do it safely.
Yeah, and he's trying to
we're trying to adapt.
we're going to get the disease and try to create a herd immunity. That's what he's trying to do. So I don't wish that on Belize, because Belize don't have the hospital capacity and the financial backing to do some of that sort.
Right.
But again, the plans that they're talking about doing and how they're implementing the tourists, I mean, on paper,
Right.
It sounds good. Let's see how it will be implemented. If it don't implement the proper way, I'm all for them to close back down and do what they got to do. But you got to try it.
Right, and I did see that they're having a different procedure for Belizeans going back home too, which is good. So, like for instance, if we were to make a trip home, we don't have to go in the designated area for tourists. Right. But they're going to be stricter with the testing and stuff.
That's fine, and that's
going to be mingling.
And that's fine. Well, that's the thing that I'm saying. If you're going to be in the general population, you need to be in a more stringent checks. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm all for us getting checked here, and if we got to pay to get our check down in Belize, I'm with paying to get it down there too.
A lot of people, I already saw like on social media, people are like, "Oh, so now we got to pay for a test."
People are just acting cheap. People need to stop being cheap. You know,
you want to go home, you want to protect your family and everyone else.
It's a small cost. It's a small cost. It's a small cost for the devastation you can put to small Belize. So yeah, you need to pay. We all need to pay for COVID-19 tests. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, but my biggest thing again is I'll hope these tests are accurate, because a lot of these tests are not accurate, the first thing, and I'll hope these tests can be able to catch you if you're asymptomatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my biggest concern, because the problem that we have here is the asymptomatic people. You know what I mean? And I just hope that those people don't fall through the cracks upon arrival in Belize. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, well, the good thing is that we are seeing steps to rejuvenate our economy, right?
Great.
We have this, and prior to this, we did see that the Prime Minister is trying to pump some foreign...
Yeah, liquidity. He needs some liquidity, some U.S. liquidity, but...
So what is he doing?
Well, he's trying to sell government bonds with the backing of the Belize government. Mm-hmm. They're trying to raise about $30 million US.
What do you think about that?
Well, initially, when I first heard him on my ear, it sounds good, 6.5%. You're not getting that nowhere in the world,
right?
You know, what I mean, that's as an investor. You know, what I mean, I was, I was thinking about actually putting some money. I wanted to put some money on it,
but I hear the past tense on that.
But when I actually thought about it, it didn't make sense to me, because first of all, how you gonna guarantee somebody else's currency? How you gonna guarantee somebody else's currency? In addition to that, Belize has the reputation, credit-wise, is not great. So it's going to cost the local Belizeans a lot of money. This whole $30 million U.S. bond situation, that's going to cost the Belizeans a lot of money to even try to pay out when it's time to pay out. 6.5%?
Right.
When the feds are loaning money right now, they're 0%.
Right.
So
the strategy is to get a pump, like
a quick boost to have the liquidity flows in the economy and help these small businesses have credit and so forth to come and buy their supplies and so forth. But the cost of it is not making any sense, and I don't know that if they will be able to pay us back that 6.5% after the 5 years. My suggestion is, again, I'd rather go home and invest in businesses and create jobs for the local Belizeans rather than go that route. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking to do.
Lower risk.
Yeah, lower risk. Yeah, that's such it's a higher risk situation. You know what I mean? And you cannot guarantee somebody else's currency. You know what I mean? If you can't pay, then what? You know what I'm saying? If it's your currency, then you can go to the printing press and print the money, or use a fiat currency and back it. But you talking about U.S. currency. You don't control the U.S. currency, and as it is, there's a shortage. So where are you going to find U.S. currency to pay people that the money you don't have? It doesn't make sense. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me. But hey, you know what I mean? They're trying to do something. They're trying to figure stuff out. But people who are investors and so forth will think twice about it. Again, I'll go back to saying that local Belizeans who have the money to do stuff like that, just go home and invest in the people, man. Invest in bringing jobs and creating opportunities for the local Belizeans. That's what I'm going to do. And I would suggest other people do it. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I just really hope that we can turn things around. Like the steps that they're taking will boost our economy in some way, because we need it. I mean, people are literally starving.
That's true, but at the end of the day, there's no magic bullet. So we don't want to give people that impression that, we will just all of a sudden turn things back on and go back to normal. We will never go back to normal. We talked about this in past episodes. This is the new normal. So you got to learn how to adjust your budget, adjust how you live, just on the things you do. Try to figure out ways how to cut, and save for a rainy day. You know what I'm saying? It's
interesting. Like I sit and try to look forward, and I'm like, August they're talking about opening up schools and stuff, and there's still. So I'm talking about Belize, right? And there's still so many people who don't even have jobs. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Listen. If they're opening up the economy on August 15th and this thing go haywire, I don't think schools will be able to be reopened, because if things hit the general population where COVID-19 is, somehow get out and is in the general population, they will be forced to close the entire country back down again. So, man, it's a double-edged sword. The kids do need education. They need to go back to school. They need especially the kids, in places where we came from. They need to be in school. But at the end of the day, you just gotta walk. Just tread lightly. And just just monitor the situation the best way you can. You know what I mean? And if it doesn't work, if it's not working the way you're planning out to work, you have the option to just shutting down your economy again and hope for the best from there.
Right. So, other things happening in Belize right now. In the midst of all this, I saw that there is Scotia. The Scotia Bank is getting bought out.
Bought out, yeah. Initially last year, I think they already told Belize they were leaving.
Okay.
So they're closing out not only in Belize, but I think they're getting out of a lot of these Caribbean countries altogether, because they're not. It's not profitable for them at this point for them to be.
So that has opened up a big opportunity for an acquisition,
right?
And by no other than Michael Ashcroft.
Yeah, man, I don't like that at all.
So that was going to be. That's exactly. I know how you feel about monopoly and stuff like that. How do you? What's
that's it. I don't like the idea that this guy, he has too much control over our people. He's, he's like the puppet master behind everything. You know what I'm saying? And for him to be owning now the banking sector, he just have too much control within our country. I don't like the idea that one man have that much control over our people. I wish there are Belizeans, local Belizeans or Belizeans in the diaspora that has the resources to go in and make those type of investments, because he's buying that for $35 million US. Now for a Belizean, that sounds like a lot of money. I do understand that sounds like a lot of money to a Belizean.
That's not a lot for.
But for people up here, for a bank, that's a drop in the bucket, man. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the money that he's buying that from, he's probably going to borrow that money to buy that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So if he had investors who are Belizeans, we could have put our money together and do some of that sort. But again, it boils down to what it always boils down to with us and our people. We need to start to work together, man. We need to start to, stop trying to take advantage of our own people and see how we can come together and look at the big picture and start owning stuff within our own country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Start owning our own destiny, pretty much. You know what I mean?
I
Because
hear
these
you.
guys are vultures to me, man.
I hear you, but you see, the thing is that it takes money to make money.
Yeah, but a lot of us have money.
That kind of money?
A lot of us, listen, like I told you, that type of money, man, if you have the type of credit and you have just 25, about 25, 20%, and as a group, you can raise that. You can get that type of money from a bank.
So you're saying
because
that,
the banks right now are loaning money at damn near 0%.
Yeah.
That's my point. You gotta look at the big pictures. The banks are loaning money right now at 1-2%. And if you can borrow $35 million to go invest, you gonna flip that, you know what I mean, in a quick time. But the problem is, where do you find Belizean partners who are willing to work with you to look at the big picture and trying to invest within our own people and own our own stuff?
Right.
It's hard because we have this crab in the bucket syndrome too much, where we're watching what's going on with each other, and don't want to understand what's going on the big goals, man.
Yeah, but doing that would at least close doors for people like Ashcraft. I mean, some people will look at it and be like, yeah, well, at least he's keeping Scotia there. People keep their jobs. We should be happy. He's providing opportunity, but
he's dry. He's sucking Belize dry. He's a vampire. That's what he is. He's a vampire. He's sucking the country dry.
And we see when things got crazy, COVID, what he donated or what he gave back to us, and people were like, "Oh, he gave us what, $10 million?
Drop in a bucket."
That's for a man like Michael,
a billionaire. That's like pocket change for him. You know what I'm saying? But again,
the amount that we give to him, he
make that back. He gonna make that back in about 2 months. That little $10 million he gave you, he already gonna make that back in his acquisition. That little acquisition right here. That little $10 million he gave you during COVID, he gonna make that back right now in this acquisition of Scotia Bank, man. That's what I'm trying to say. We don't look at the big picture, and the reason why we don't do it because we're so quick to go at each other's necks and each other's throats. And I don't think COVID-19 will at least let us understand that we don't have that luxury no more of starting to hate each other and going against each other and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
This is the time for us to now start to work with each other and start to own our own stuff, man.
And I wonder how you even form a coalition like that. Like, how do you get, like, say, Belizean Americans in the diaspora to get excited and interested in doing something like that and see that not only is it great for us as Belizean, but for the benefit of the country? Like, how do you get them to understand?
What we do it here in the States as investors, I'll give you an example of how we do it here in the investors here. Like we first of all, we'll go use social media, so to speak, and just network. Just find like-minded people, friend them. You friend a lot of these like-minded people on social media.
So you form a group, interested people
will join
that has the same mindset and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just request them, and then you just, every day you throw out, like, if you got deals and so forth, you just throw out deals. I got this sweet deal here and there. I got a sweet deal there. An investor is never going to turn down a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And I just think that we need to do the same thing with our own people. But again, when you talk about our own people, there's always this distrust and this mentality that, you can't do better than me and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, we end up all lose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that definitely is a Belizean flaw. If you
it's
look
a
at
Caribbean flaw. It's not just Belize. It's a Caribbean third world flaw. I don't want to say third, but a developing country flaw where they don't want to see another man do better than the other man. But this disease should be able to give you and have you see the big picture now that everybody can eat, man. Everybody can be successful. But a lot of us, in order for us to get to that point, we need to form a team. You got to have a strong team that can come together and make it happen. And once the deal is done and we are successful, then we can go back off and splinter off and do what we want to do. But we got to start to own our own stuff, man. Because again, I hate to just see this guy like he just be lurking, man, just waiting for opportunities. And as soon as you get an opportunity, like a vulture, man, he's on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious, man, straight up. So there's nothing good in him to me. There's nothing good for the Belizean people with this man acquiring and monopolizing the whole country again. I'm not with that whatsoever.
Oh, man. All right, so Belizean Americans, we all have a big part to play in our economy, in our country.
We do.
And I think it's time for us to maybe talk about that a lot and let people start to realize that we can do so much more, especially now.
You know, I like you know, I like a lot of Belizean Americans, man. To be honest with you, and I got to say this: a lot of us have all these granular ideas and so on and so forth. Yet none of us own any land back in Belize. A lot of us don't. I mean, we do, but a lot of us don't. You know, I mean, a lot of us don't want to go home and invest and do the necessary things, or they'll put everything off on the violence. Listen, man, there's violence everywhere. You know what I mean? There's
I
all,
hear that a lot.
Hey, all this stuff that you're talking about is everywhere. Now, I do understand that Belize don't have a lot of resources and so on and so forth, but where will you want them to start? How do you want them to get better if you ain't making an initial step to try to make it better? So to me, it should be. I'm making a call to all of them who have the ability and the capacity to go back home and make a difference, even if you're just volunteering your time.
Right.
Do that. But if you have the money, invest your money in Belize, man.
Right, and local Belizeans have a part to play in that as well. For instance, right, what we always hear that you touched on is, oh, I'm not going to do anything in Belize because of the crime. Right. Or I'm not going to try to build a house because you know how Belizeans are. They're going to rip me off. Yeah. And so I think... And
it's funny they say that, right? Because they probably live here in the house that they have, they got ripped off on the house too. That's the funny part about it. Most of the... you know what I'm saying?
Probably.
The house they live in up here, they got ripped off. The car they driving, they got ripped off buying that. Everything that they own, the credit card that they spending up, running up right now, they get ripped off on that. Right. But they still gonna turn around and tell you this dumb logic that, hey, if I do thing in Belize, I'm gonna get, man, listen, man. Whatever you do business in Belize, tack on 10% for opportunity cost.
Right.
You know
and
what I'm
that's true, but like I was saying, Belizeans need to do their part and do better too, though. You know, local Belizeans can do a lot to curb that whole mentality there.
Listen, man. If they were going to curb that mentality, they was going to be curbed a long time ago. People are just stuck in their ways. And if there's not someone from outside to come in and say, hey, man, there's a better way of doing something, I don't see how it's going to change. And you understand, it's Belizeans home. Things are like that by design. Like the politicians want these people to think like that.
Because that's their way.
That's their path of staying in power and keep things status quo. You know what I'm saying? So all that is by design. Hence, the reason why I was trying to explain to you is the people who have better knowledge and understand what's going on a larger scale to go back home and make a difference. But until these people up here change their mentality, because some of them have the resources, some of them have the mental capacity and the skill to get things done, but they're always in refusal to deal with their own people.
Right.
And how do you get someone to want to work with their own? You understand? You know what I'm saying? That's the bigger issue. You know what I'm saying? I just listen, like I said, there's probably like 100,000 of Belizean Americans here in the States alone. I just imagine if, you know, they just work together. You know, I mean, if they work together, Belize will not be in a prolonged recession and so on and so forth. And on the longer term, it would be better for the country. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And even there's investments and stuff like that, and there's also ideas that Belizean Americans can contribute. Hey, maybe, I don't know, we need new ideas pumped into the country, especially the government.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying Belizean Americans should go take over the government.
Nah, I mean, I'm not saying that, man.
But I think it would be great if the Belizean government and locals are open.
Well, you know, the government will follow the lead, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the government is just going with the status quo. You know what I'm saying? The government is not trying to change anything.
Shouldn't it be the opposite way around?
What it should be and what it is two different things.
Shouldn't they lead and we follow?
Nah, man. They don't want to lead. They don't want to lead in that matter. Because if they lead like that, then they can lose power. And their job is to make politics a career. You know what I mean? That's their job. You know what I mean? So I think the change that you're talking about, the huge change that you're talking about, got to come from people who are like-minded, for one, and who will have the will.
Right.
And a real investor will look past all of that nonsense that they're talking about, because a lot of the excuses that we make, or a lot of Belizean Americans make, they are actually experiencing those very same things right here in the States, and they're just playing the fool. And Belize, to me, is the perfect opportunity that has abundance of opportunity for everybody. Everybody can go out there and do pretty well. You just have the right mindset for it, man.
I hear that. Man, one last thing I wanted to touch on.
Okay.
Just because you mentioned a little bit about politics just now.
Right.
I don't really want to make this a politics segment, but I noticed that the third party actually put out a full slate for the election this time. I think it's like maybe the first time that they actually have someone running.
That's good.
What do you think about that? What do you think there's any chance that maybe one or two seats
It's not for me to determine the people of Belize.
You're not determining. I'm asking your opinion.
Listen, my opinion is I'm glad that they actually are putting stuff on paper and give people their ideas in regards to what they would like to do and how they can pull Belize out of the situation.
Do you think it's more the same?
I read some of the ideas, it's more the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and it's crazy to say that to them, you know what I'm saying? But it's more the same.
Some visionaries, man.
It's more the same, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, how do you explain to these folks like, yo, you know, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You know, if you do X, Y, and Z, you got to, you know what I mean? Certain things got to be in place for those things to be implemented. You know what I mean? And the psyche got to change. Yeah. And the psyche got to come from, you know, some different source, because these sources that we're relying on are using the same tactics. But again, I'm still proud and happy that they are putting something up for someone to look at and compare and contrast.
Yeah, just give them an alternative.
Yeah, but
you know?
I'm thinking, man, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, man, look at it and say, hey, man, it's just more the same. You know what I'm saying?
Or some people could say, hey, a change won't hurt, or it might. Take America. People might be scared of change.
Depends on what type of change you're talking about, man, because certain changes, man, listen, man, like they always say, if you don't broke, don't fix it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, ain't it broke?
Listen, man, certain government is broke. The way government functionality is broke, yes. But certain part of Belize makeup is not broke.
That's right.
You understand? Belize just need visionaries, man.
Right. People
with good ideas to get Belize back on track, or to get Belize to its full potential. And we have it, and the people that can do it are scared to make the initial move to get it done. But don't get it twisted that Belize is somehow handicapped, or Belize is just the people who are running it don't have the capacity to get the type of change that you and I know Belize is capable of doing, to be honest with you.
I hear that. All right, man. Well, you got anything else on what's on your mind?
Well, the only thing else I want to say is I also want to shout out to the people in Belize for, you know, the quick response in regards to the roads being washed out west in Cayo, man. I know a lot of Belizeans are trying to turn it into a political matter. That should not be a political matter. I'll tell you right now, here in Georgia, our roads been washed out too, and they take way longer to respond.
It's Mother Nature, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's nature, man. It's not everything that's political. You know what I mean? Climate change and so on and so forth are real. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with the government is stealing money so the roads are washed out or it's whatever political. But what they can do is to now plan for the changes to the economy and to the to nature, and whenever they rebuild it completely, because I noticed they did a little makeshift road and people can it's still functional. People can still move back and forth and so on and so on, and they did that pretty fast and pretty quick, and I love to see that quick response, and you know what I mean. So I have no qualms with that as well. But again, if you're gonna do it, just do it in mind that hey, climate change is here to stay. Right. So whatever we do, either you're going to have to build a bridge, which is I would suggest they do, build a bridge and have enough, support for a bridge there. Or if you're going to go back to what you was having, just have bigger culverts and so forth with more support. Because, it can happen again.
Right, sure can. All right, man. Well, that's episode 28.
For sure, man.
All right. Well, change the narrative. Peace.
Peace out.